is a great state fair. Don't miss it, don't even be late.
And here we are again at the Minnesota State Fair Creative Activities, this time 2013. We'll look at some of the wood carvings from around here. And this year I didn't do so good is because I was not prepared. I was busy with other stuff, and all of a sudden it was time to get going, and careful not to, oh goodness, trip over anything. But let's see what's going on in here. Down here. Clown, can I zoom in? Let's see if we can zoom in just a little bit there. And here is Cain. Kind of interesting. Is it the fall from grace? I don't know. What is that? No, there's a guy climbing, so it isn't. That's what I thought. I don't know. There's a story here. Then here's some interesting art here. I wonder if that's like, I wonder if that's steampunk. One tooth roll free pen. Huh. I can get in there as good as I can. Here's another intarsia. And then this side we got another shallow relief. I can't get down in there. They got it down there. I wish they would have had it up. I think it's a beautiful piece. Yeah, this is the first. There's a toy. I don't know if that'd be under the toy category. Wood toy. This is under the Minnesota booth, you might say. As you get into the gate, as you get into the door, pardon me. There's Norm demonstrating the fan bird.
I'll give you a paper bag and keep them in so I don't get away from you. What I want you to do is hold them out here, and we're just going to drop them in the bag.
Alright, so you ready? He has a piece of
Back up a little bit.
the board right there, that black
Here, now hold them above the bag. Yep, drop them in. Did you hear him? I heard him. Yeah, he's in there. Now I got a toy he likes to play with. Please don't drop this. They're hard to find on the floor. They really are. Okay, there you go. Drop it in the bag.
Wow, he's really moving around in there.
Here's an interesting little wood burning. Coming around here, which is better right there. Yep. Zoom in on some of the detailing there. Here's a couple more. Bring this in such a way there's no reflection. Somebody's getting that. There's another one right here to do. Look at this one. And that's supposed to be a fireplace mantle. Here we have relief carving. There we go. Too much window glare. There we go. Oh, look at that. That's one of those, the ball inside a cage, but there they made a cage inside of a cage inside of a cage which has balls in it. That kind of took a while. Oops. Another wood turn. Another desk making, and then here's a nice, there's a good relief. Get up on a better angle. Is that better? Then here's I am debating if this is a wood carving or if I think that's clay. Some more turnings. Oops. Now we'll get into the animals and birds. Oh, I don't touch this. This is too good for me. There's a nice little bobcat there. Do that without too much. Let me see, let's swing this around. No, I can't get the reflection off. Only a pink on that, see? That's much better than I can do, and he's only got a pink, so. It's just that it's not my style. I never got really into the animals, but we'll show what other people can do here. Get out of the reflection, zoom in a bit here. There's a nice one. Nice Minnesota moose. Somebody's card. Or, I'm sorry. Cane. Oh, a little bear here. Head sticking out. Zoom some more here. Come on. Can I do that? I guess the glasses. There you go. I don't think the glass will let me focus in. And we come down. Wood? Is that a woodpecker? Hope I'm not making you too dizzy. There's a woodpecker, isn't it? That's about the size of my pinky, I think. Smaller than my pinky. Don't trip over the garbage there. I'm not sure if that's made out of wood or... Let me see. These are made out of like this turned wood. Oh, there's some scroll sawing. Get up there without any. Oh man, it's hard to get there. I mean, I'm like. There we go. I think that's the best I can do. Oh, that's a good carving. A snake or a whippoorwill, actually. Zooming in on this. That's up there. There we go. That's a good carving. There's a great white. Back there, we'll get around there. Highlighted. I call it the highlighted woodpecker because my grandfather called it. That's good with me. I'm pretty sure this is the ivory bill. The ivory bill has an ivory bill. So the black bill says highlighted woodpecker. Sort of a stylized. Go ahead. And here we got a Caracca hawk. How's that? Okay, I might be wrong because This, I believe, oops, is the ivory belt. For all you birders. Flight violated. Same thing, only different. So we can zoom around to that. And a good display. This is an intarsia. I think that would be a great, there we go, a barred owl. I think that's a barred owl. Here's somebody's way of carving a lunch bag. I don't know. There's the white snowy. We got nothing on that, and that's probably better than what I can do if I try to carve something like that. Turn bowl. Turn whatever that is. And there's a, oh sorry, gourd. Is that painted? I probably just painted. There's another angle of the whippoorwill. Oops. Excellent piece. And over here, oh, we got the ducks and the fishermen. And what is that, a he or a she going fishing? I think that was like originally wood turned and then carved. I think that is red cedar that's turned orange. There's a nice shallow relief and wood burn at the same time. Too bad I can't get that. There I go. Can I get that? No, I can't. There's our state bird, our state flower. Showy slipper. That is in walnut. There is a there is a frog, and I think that's a painted intarsia. That's cheating. There's a typical Minnesota carving right there. There he is, sitting there. Oh, he did catch something.
Oh, I see. They used to corner down.
I'm not sure if that isn't wood. Is that? No, that wouldn't be wood. There's another pro saw. Here comes a couple of ducks. There's the wood. There's the wood. And in order there, another wood. Followed by the state bird, the loon. Oh, a lot of people carve their own. Here's another one of Lynn's. That's supposed to be a fishing Santa. Again, just out of a block of wood, pencil. It's the first time she tried moving the head around. No pattern, just block of wood. There's the fish. And then zoom out a little bit right here with the nice little wood ring and moon on a lake. I don't know if I caught it. Oh, here's another stick up here. Got a blue. Zoom in. Look at the little patterns. What is that? Flowers or? Oh yeah, here we go. Okay, he's got a. Can I focus in with the? I think the glass is not letting me focus in here. Sorry, because there's a. Oh, that's the light. Oh, jeez, I can't get it because of the light. Oh, here we go. Birds. Here's something different. is, you heard of golf ball carving? Well, look at this. This is, let me zoom in on some of these and start it. Let's get to some of the details here. That is golf ball carving. And I don't think the glasses let me focus. Now either that, I'm trying to figure, is that from a golf ball? Or did they just simply put a golf ball at the bottom? Ladybug. Yeah, see, look how the wings go past the ball. Yeah, I guess that's what they did. In fact, that isn't even carving. Well, there's I'm going to move a little closer here and zoom in a little bright here. This is kind of in the angel Barbie doll wedding section. Swing around a little bit. I think we're doing a little bit. Now we'll come over to this booth. This is one of my favorite. It's the Native American and Cowboy. Again, it's all based on Western theme. We'll get in here, and in the center, that's my cowboy. I tried to base him a little bit on John Wayne. I tried, but it didn't work out too well. There's a couple other cowboys. One got that's one above mine. Mine was under human figure. I'm not sure if this would be human figure. There's a other figure, and he would over there. The one in there, that one there would have been human figure. And then we got some more. We got some Tarsha here. Of course, you know Tarsha is all woods are natural, no painting. There's another Tarsha up here. Got a blue. Zoom out. I think I'm already as out as I can. Yeah. Okay, that side is the cowboy. We'll swing over onto this side. Here are the Native American. Now here's mine. This one's kind of an easy one. This is under large figure. I'm gonna rest with that guy. Here is a, I don't know, is that a shallow relief, or I think that was one against my bark carving. I got that in shallow relief. There's a diamond willow stick. Some more wood turning. And then up here we got, I gotta bring this up, sorry, I gotta get this out of the light here. There we go. That's from, I thought it was Jeff Lipkins, isn't it? He always does excellent, oh, beaver. Can I zoom in on that? Zoom on that and hold this at the same time. Can I? Yeah, I've done that before. We take the wood burner and make little squares and paint them. And then here's a little, where'd he go? Oh, there he is. And again, this is kind of the Native American. Okay, here's a couple of more plain or Scandinavian. He's the guy that beat out my my gnome, and of course he got the American Swedish Institute Award, which I won a couple times, but I guess not today. And you see the wood burning in the background. Get the reflection off of there.
Yeah, I know.
But yeah, looks like this gentleman won this time. I think that's an old Marv Kaiserstadt pattern, I think.
Crazy.
In fact, I'm almost sure. I wanted to do one of those because my father was a butcher, and good thing I didn't do it this year and brought that in. Here's a nice piece of encanthus here. Nice detail. I gotta go run a beam here. Just careful, sorry. No, and he's got Grand Champion. Beautiful incandescent. Okay. That does make a good. If I can pull out, I think that would make a good fireplace mantle. Let's pull out and pull. I'm already out. Oh goodness. So let's head over to Christmas. I do carve quite a bit of Santas and bring a lot of Santas. Christmas section, and there's some of mine right up on top there.
Did you happen to see?
Here are some of my Santas, some of Lynn's Santas. So we'll start with this one here. This is kind of I want to say kind of based on an Ellis Olson, if you're familiar with him. Ellis Olson is at Reasons to Believe. ReasonsToBelieveOneWord.com, to which that I am there as well. Very interested. So I just did a kind of a larger version of what he did there. I don't do that too much. Use somebody else's. I just like to use mine here. In the center is my Steampunk Santa and his time machine. And of course, it got nothing. And we had our Rochester, Minnesota show. It did poorly there. It just, I think people just don't understand. Steampunk is sort of a fad. Sort of, if you're familiar with the old Wild Wild West, sort of a futuristic past, or past trying to be in the future. So he's supposed to be like an 1800 Santa with a time machine made out of gears. There's one of my bark Santas. See if I can zoom out a little bit there. That one's going to Reasons to Believe. And well, I'll go quickly over to the other one, the painted one. That one's mine. That's going to Reasons to Believe. And that was under the category of freestanding decoration, so it's only judged by the painting. And since I got nothing, I wonder what the others look like. I mean, that must have been pretty good. I usually get blues and and reds every year in that category, but for some reason, nothing. Here's somebody else's. Let me zoom in a little bit. That's a sort of a familiar pattern. Drop on down. Going to drop on down without zooming out. There's another one of Lynn's. And Lynn is pretty good at just taking a block of wood and just carve away. Block of wood, pencil, knife, that's it, no patterns. There's a Swedish girl. Zoom out a little bit here. Always wanted to do one of those. That's kind of based on there's a ceramic character. It's from the Larson collection, I'm not sure. And then here is another one of Lynn's. Again, block of wood, pencil, knife, that's it. Imagination. Here's an oldie but oldie favorite here. I've carved one of those. This isn't mine. I did one of those. Oh, that pattern's about 6 years old, if you're familiar with it. Here's sort of a stylized nativity. Very interesting. We got a little bit of pin, whatever. Not wood, so we got to zoom in. And this one here is a familiar pattern. As a matter of fact, one of our wood carvers at the Metro Wood Carving in November is going to teach that. And it's a nice carving. Let's zoom out and getting back up without bumping into anybody. There we are with the Christmas carvings. And here are my pride and joy, the villagers. And a story that I am writing based on these characters. These are characters who come to life. You better be careful, the two little ones in front. They're very mischievous, and if you have them at your house and you wake up the next day and everything's kind of out of place, well, you probably had them in your house. There's the rest. There's Nicholas and Astrid, Nils and Gunda. And there's Berthina and Baldur, the parents. There's Ola, Arv, and Ola's father, Steen. Down there, red. This was under multiple human figures. I think I'll try to find the one that got the blue. Now here's a little interesting change here. That's my gnome house with bark carving, but they stuck it here in the tweeds and other wearable textile, cloth, woolen, whatever. And there's nothing else in there that is of any other except for that. Oh well. Here's the Scandinavian section. Got a fiddler there. Didn't get any. There's a nice dollar. A lot of rose mulling and shaker boxes and everything here. There's a couple of dudes. Is that like an IOU or something? The church? Oh no, it's a taker. There's from my video, the gnome dragging, and only got a white out of him. Yeah, well. Again, this is Scandinavian. There's all kinds of Scandinavian there. There's a cane here. If we can zoom in without the window glare. You can get in here. A nice detail. Very nice detail. Start off with the little witch here. In fact, that's from Lynn, my wife. Carved that. Very good at just take a stick and just carve whatever comes to mind. Here we go, going from one building to the next. Here we are at the Senior Citizen Center. We've got some wood carvings in there, another wood art. And we got something else going on in there too.
13 question methodist.
Here we got a couple of Scandinavian flat planes. You can zoom in a little in some of these here. We can zoom in. I can have this over my head here. On the upper level here. There it is. There's my zoom. There's Joe Warrens. I know Joe. Oops. Like I said, I got the camera practically over my head and it's on the upper level. I mean, there's some names. There's I guess that would be a University of Minnesota professor, I guess. I mean, I know some of the names here from my clubs, but I just can't connect with the faces. We got a good lot this year. Very good lot. There's a couple of Scandinavians. They don't look too happy for some reason. Colorful. There's a Viking. If I can get it up there, there it is. And over here is Leon's bust. Here, zoom back a little bit. There we go. From Wyoming, that's Wyoming, Minnesota. Just north from here. Some stylized wood. Another stylized bowl. There's another stylized version. Some other, and there's a little bit of marquetry. Other uses of woods and barbs. I'm bringing the camera down. Viewer up. Move over so we don't have any. There is with this box of marquetry, but then on the other hand, let's look at this set here. Zoom in. Is that wood or is that? Is that wood or is that made out of clay? Polymer or something. Not sure, but at least probably gives somebody an idea of the chess set of the Hittites against the Hebrews. Then we have some of the wood construction. Quilt patterns. Speaking of quilts, it might be an interesting pattern to have like Santa Claus. It's a very quick look at this is how they display their quilts here. There's a nice Ohio star, kind of. You can put that on a Santa. Anyway. Here's a very interesting carving. Let me come into it here. Carving the star. Well, there's the ball in the cage. We call it the Irish chain or something like that. There's another, just an interesting use of wood here. When you come over where there's no flash there, no reflection. You can see, kind of sawed one way and then kind of flip over and just different shapes. Here's something very interesting. Just a block of wood and they cut it. And that's the globe. That's supposed to represent something. The globe. And some kind of a, I don't know, oops. That's going to be interesting. Interesting use of wood. Log art, I don't know. There's some intarsia. For all you scrollers, we do have a scrollers club in our area. I'm not involved with it, but I hope that it does continue. It's all wood, natural wood, of course, nothing painted. There's more intarsia. Nice blue room in there. Nice little shorebird. Again, I probably know half these people. See the names, but I just don't. Let's zoom back out again. Hold on. That's a big bird. Even the antlers carved out of wood. Stylized fish, angelfish. Here's a nice walking stick. Sort of a stylized pattern. Nice quilt in the background. Here's a nice, let's get down there. There we go. Way down there. Nice little scroll saw of a nice Minnesota woodland scene. A lot. Closer. Oh, yeah, I gotta wait. Nice work. Some more intarsia. All natural wood. Excuse me, natural color. Here's another intarsia. Let's bring it down slow. Here's some pretty interesting gourd work. If you're into that, just thought I'd throw that in. Pretty popular around here. I don't know if you would call that wood carving. Here's some other wood art in the Senior Center here. Get around here without getting the light here. Probably a plate turner with some painting. Some nice paint. I don't think that's rosemary. Same colors. There's some marquetry. Some more rose or wood turning. Scandinavian shaker box. Turning. Here's another wood demonstrator doing canvas.
Well, really, they do make say they made it like fine. Oh, wow! I can all the different parts in the state that do all down by them. Oh. Brooks. Ray Brooks is his father. They got my name. I've been named Brooks. He was like a big fellow like you are.
Refresh my memory. What is his name again?
Konstantinos Papadakis.
So while we're here, we'll go into one of the log cabins here. There's a couple of interesting pieces in wood that we would like to I'd like to bring
It's
up.
actually breaking right here. It's just being pulled slowly, and I haven't found anyone who can fix it because it's very difficult to fix. So this
I
is
don't want to
stabilizing
interrupt
it. So
her. I mean, there's
that makes me kind of
how
happy.
do you pronounce that? Mangla board. Scandinavian, but then here's this guy here, I think. While she's playing there, see, I think that's all the way out. Is that all the way out? I think that's from Chip Chat's pattern, no. But no name at the bottom. That's the thing. No name. Yeah, that is a Chip Chat's pattern, isn't it? I don't know if that's a hard. And there's our wood turner here in the Heritage Square area.
That's a big gate.
It's a 16 inch.
Okay.
Some of his work.
We've got a shop seal.
That makes a nice lathe. You got to put about 300 or 400 pounds of sand on it to hold it down.
Oh, it's got a stable base.
Some of his failures down there.
So anything longer than 16 inches has to go on the shop seal. The Laguna does 90% of what I do.
What are you carving?
It's a wooden bowl. A little wooden bowl. So this is going to be the foot. It's going to sit on a little pedestal, and this will be the actual bowl part.
So you're just carving off the base right now. You're getting rid of that foot, or
Yeah, you have to when you're turning wood, or using any kind of wood, it has to be kind of the same thickness all the way through, an even thickness, and that thickness fairly thin. So this pedestal base, I have to hollow that out just like it's a bowl, because if I were to leave it thick, what would happen is the wood,
Split.
yeah, it would crack, because the wood on the surface will dry, and the wood on the surface will shrink. But the wood deep inside there, it's not exposed to the air, and it's not drying and not shrinking. So
Set it in the shed for a couple of weeks.
well, I don't have a couple of years. I'm just making Tupperware here. I'm not going to fuss with anything that much. I just crank this stuff out. So I use green wood, process the wood myself. Wood naturally comes green. Wood's natural state is green. So wood doesn't come from lumber yards.
Where do you get your wood?
Well, I get it from wherever I can, from the woods mostly. Yep. Cut down a tree and there it is right there.
I'm amused how many professions have that concept of spinning it so that you get the round shape.
What's that?
I'm amazed how many different professions have used this concept of like spinning it round and round to get everything even.
Yeah, there's potters, of course. Glass blowers. Yep. It's a pretty natural thing. You know, but it's curious, in North and South America, there was never a tradition of manipulating materials using this method, whether it's pottery or wood or whatever. Everything was hand carved, or the pottery was hand built, they call it. You'd swear some of it was turned, you know, but no, it wasn't. Everywhere else in the world had a tradition of spinning material, manipulating material, whether it's clay or wood or whatever. North and South America, everything was hand carved.
Well, they didn't have wheels either, except for
They didn't use them.
Except as toys.
They probably had them, but they didn't use them. It just wasn't.
As toys.
Yeah, they just didn't use it. You know, it just wasn't. Never became part of the tradition.
How long does it take to make a bowl?
A bowl this size normally takes me about 20 minutes or so.
Without interruptions, of course.
Yeah. When I'm here at the fair, I can make them last all day. Sometimes I do.
Off-site, do you use a much more mechanized, or do you use the
Well,
same?
you got to think about that for a while. So, when a bowl gets to be about 18 inches or so in diameter, you lose the efficiency of reciprocating motion. And I've learned that from personal use, and then I've gone back and studied large bowls and looked at them, and you can tell by the tool marks on bigger bowls that they're all turned on continuous motion lathes. You could look at this bowl with a magnifying glass, and if you looked at the tool marks, you can see where some of them stop and start because of the reciprocating motion. You don't see that on bigger bowls. You see it's done with continuous motion. So a bigger bowl, then I would use some sort of power lathe. It's continuous motion, externally powered. So whether it's powered with a water wheel or a windmill or a slave or an apprentice powering the lathe, there's no difference between that and an electric motor. But there is a difference in attitude between modern turners and traditional turners. And a modern turner would assume that the electric motor is there to use it as a labor-saving device. But a lathe, even a $10,000 modern lathe, truly is not a labor-saving device when used properly. You know, and I know I'm going to get in trouble here. I always do, but that's just the way it is. You know, you can go out and buy a $10,000 lathe, and your bowls could be just junk if you don't know what you're doing. Just like you can go out and buy a $10,000 banjo if you don't know how to play it. It looks good hanging on the wall. So really the
the mechanization of the lathes doesn't make any difference at all. It's all the same amount of work. Whether I have external power giving me continuous motion or this. And they're all historic. They had power lathes. In other words, they had power lathes 4,000 years ago, just like they do now. Maybe it was an electric motor, but there's no difference between the revolution provided by an electric motor and the revolution provided by a water wheel. And so you have to kind of, that's what I'm here, is to dispel some of these assumptions about modern work, traditional work. A lathe is not a table saw or a bandsaw. It's not a labor-saving device. It's a very interesting tool, and it's a lost art today. People like me were not uncommon 150 years ago. People turning out this stuff. In the past, this stuff was called treenware. Treen is an old English word that means wood. That's all it is. So this is woodenware, known as treenware. It's also known in the past as woodenware or dishware sometimes. Today, what's it called?
Decoration?
Tupperware. 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 So this stuff I'm making here is serving the same function as Tupperware does today. And so people like me were as common 150 years ago as Tupperware is today. Talk about a lost art. A lost trade.
Would that have been expensive?
No. Not particularly. But that depends on the local economy. The only thing that stays constant with pricing this stuff is a day's work has always been worth a day's pay, unless slavery was part of the economy. I mean, in the southern part of North America, slaves were doing this kind of work as well as being potters and stuff. But in the north, mostly it was tradespeople. Mostly it was tradespeople. And there were tradespeople in the south too. It wasn't completely done by slaves. But that would affect the economy. But otherwise, you know, day's work is worth a day's pay, whatever that dominant is. And this was a trade. So people that did this were in business and knew what the market would bear.
Tell us about your tools.
Pardon me?
Tell us about your tools.
Well, the tool I'm using is called a hook tool. It's a hand-forged knife. It's a pretty simple tool. It's got a long handle all the way up to here, and the knife blade is about 1 inch long. When I forge this, I forge a flat knife blade, just like a pocket knife or something, just a flat blade, but only about 1 inch long. I sharpen it completely so it's sharp, it's razor sharp, and then I go back and bend it. So that way I don't have to make, look who's standing in front of me here. I don't have to do any maintenance on the inside, really, just the minimum, because it's hard to get to. So I can sharpen it from the outside. I know the inside is smooth because I've sharpened it before I bent it. So they're called hook tools. They're very, very common. Once again, it's part of the lost art today.
And you've made all your own tools?
Yeah, I make my own. And that's real traditional for bowl turners. Always made their own tools, as well as built my own lathe. I've had this lathe since 1991 when I built it one morning. 1991. I've been turning on it ever since. So. But it's like George Washington's axe that's in the Smithsonian today, the one he used to chop down the cherry tree. Well, George Washington's axe is hanging on the wall in the Smithsonian right now, and the handle, it's been documented that the handle has been replaced on that axe 7 times since George Washington owned it, and the head's been replaced 3 times. So the lathe is kind of like that. You know, there's been a lot of pieces replaced. It's never ending. It's infinitely adjustable, but all that means is I'm infinitely adjusting. It doesn't ever end.
As long as it really is the axe that chopped down the cherry tree, that's all that matters.
So I've got the outside shaped on this one. I always shape the outside of a bowl completely, because once I start hollowing it out, it starts warping right away. It starts changing shape, and then I can't go back and do anything do anything on the outside because it'd be just like roughing it out all over again. So I'm kind of satisfied with that shape right now. It's a little bowl sitting on a little pedestal. So go ahead and start hollowing this out. This is a very dangerous part.
Should we be gasping right now?
No, you should be coming in closer. You should be coming in closer.
Danger means you need to get your nose in it.
Pardon me?
Do you have good insurance?
No.
I'm gonna stand back here.
Yeah, you're standing right. You're going to bump yourself with those axes there and cut your legs off.
Yeah, you don't have insurance.
Are you an insurance salesman? Or?
Switch lights here, put it on.
This is pretty high tech. Did somebody have a question? Or?
Yeah,
Or
switch
just
legs
this?
here, for too long.
How many horsepower?
Well, like it's a half a horsepower here and then a half a horsepower here. But this half a horsepower gets a lot more work. This leg is about that big around. You know, if I could lift these up high enough. This one's about that big around. But, you know, I kind of live with that too. It's like my arms. I do all the axe work with this arm, and so I have like blacksmith arms. One arm is bigger than the other. But that's all right. The restroom is down at that end of Heritage Square. To get to the restroom, I start and I have to head out that way and walk around these little circles all the way around. So, but it works. I know how just to estimate it. You're here to clean this mess up, aren't you? They said they were going to send a young lady with a horse on her shirt to clean up this mess. Yeah, I think she's right there. The deal is you have to clean it up for me 3 times a day. That would keep it clean. Where are you going?
Oh, there she goes.
And then after that, the horsepower.
That's part of the whole operation is the cleanup right
So
there.
if you clean it up for me 3 times a day, after 3 days I could give you a nickel. Whoa. No?
Boy, in those days that's big bucks there.
Well, heck, I could make you a nickel. How's that?
Still big bucks.
Work. If you look at it real close, you can see it's already wobbling. Just that little bit I've hollowed it out there.
Quite unique. I like that.
Now, when you said this is dangerous, has it got something to do with that broken bowl you got down over there?
No, it's dangerous that, well, there's kind of a little story that I tell, and it'll illustrate the danger to you. I've been doing this show for quite a while now, and doing it full time for quite a few years now, and you meet a lot of people out here. You know, you meet a lot of people at these fairs and festivals and stuff. And I met this guy. He retired. He was an old showman. Okay. We call ourselves showmen in the fair business. And he's an old showman, he retired, and he says, Roger, I got the perfect thing. I got the perfect thing for your little sideshow here, for your little demonstration, and when you get a bunch of people in the tent. He said, this thing came from northern Scandinavia, right at the border of Russia and Norway, way up, way above the Arctic Circle, where the ground is frozen all the time. And you've probably read this, and this has just been in the news very recently. They found another one. They find these woolly mammoths that are frozen in the ground. I mean, it's not a fossil. It's a frozen woolly mammoth, and they're frozen solid. They're not turned to stone. I mean, the hair is still there, the muscles, and you could cook the meat and eat it. It's fresh. It's not. They're not rotten. And he said this thing was found in the fur. It's said to have been found in the fur of one of these frozen woolly mammoths. And he said, take it on the road with you and show it to people. But he said, here's the danger part to you. He said, you have to promise me that you won't show it for free. And so I've got this thing. I don't know what it is. He didn't know what it is. Nobody knows what it is. So you get your hand going in your pocket already. 25 cents per person per peek. No fair peeking over anybody's shoulders here. So if you're curious at all, You can maybe try to tell me what it
Pulling out
is.
his credit card right there. He's got his
No, there's no. It's just
Oh,
25-cent piece. I throw it back here, and I maybe get some coffee with it once in a while. So.
Oh, he's got a 25
He wants to look
Okay.
at it 4 times.
What's that?
Well, we have a group.
Yeah, I'll look
I
at
have
it.
change.
We have a group.
Huh?
We have a group.
Was for you?
Yes.
Oh, okay. I'll put my change away. Oh, here's one. Okay, one person, one peak. No fair looking over anybody's shoulders.
Okay, I'll shut my eyes.
Okay.
And you don't take any pictures of this.
Here's mine.
Okay, now who's gonna look?
All right, I'll turn the camera off
Okay.
and then I'll tell you later.
No fair peak.
Our state fair is a great state fair. Don't miss it, don't even be late.